Okay, I'm back. Nicole's back. That glitch. We're just going to try and get everybody back on. Don't know what's happened. It's bound to happen sometime because it's internet. So I'll just carry on talking with Nicole because I don't want to have too much dead air. But Nicole, you were saying about how we've got Priya too.
Yeah. Hi, back again.
Okay, so Nicole was saying about how great it is not only to hear kind of almost like, no, you're directly helping somebody, but also was shouting out about how much support goes into it. So you're not just there on your own. And Priya, you've said that as well. You said that you're always supported.
Always, yeah, right from day one, I was made to feel so comfortable and so supported. And, for me, it was coming back to the healthcare sector after many years. So I was really not too confident. But the amount of support and guidance that I got from everyone, now they've just become part of a one big family, and we always have each other's back. We work as a team. There is no demarcation between who's a volunteer and who's not, and who's a permanent staff member. I mean, everybody's vision, what can I say? Everybody's bit is taken into consideration, and we are, even during the morning meetings, our inputs are always considered and encouraged. It's not that just because you are a volunteer, you're not going to have your say. You do have your say, and people do take care of you by supporting you and guiding you. And even during this COVID crisis, when the doors of PAUSE is not open, us volunteers and staff, we are in touch. So we have our own WhatsApp group. We are always in touch, checking on each other, having webinars with the staff who checks on us to see how we are doing, how we are coping with our mental health. And that's it. We are always giving feedback and sharing resources. And even for group supervision, like you were saying, Nicole, we also have a group supervision every few weeks where all the volunteers gather together and we share and discuss some specific case which was interesting, some new coping strategies that we wanted to share with others, some skills that we wanted to interchange. We have some training scheduled as well, and some amazing dinner. So we are really pampered out there. And of course, every guest is welcomed with a hot drink, like hot chocolate. Tea. There's music going on. It's like a cafe kind of an atmosphere. So it's relaxing, comforting, and a great place to start with, So I'm really grateful for TCS and PAUSE to give me this platform to get back to the grind, where I feel that I've grown as a person. I've become way more confident. I've got valuable skills now, great work experience. So yeah, I would say just absolutely go for it. Give it a chance and you'll never regret it or be sorry about it.
That sounds incredible. I mean, you've both looked at where kind of your experience lies, but not only that, you've kind of gone out there a little bit more. So like Nicole, you were saying that although that you work at the charity and you work with campaigning, you don't have that much experience doing direct work. So just quickly, because I know we are running out of time, I know we're running out of time, and I don't want to rush this at all, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to think, yeah, this all sounds great, but is there any challenges to doing volunteering? Nicole, have you found any in your time?
I think not necessarily challenges to this specific volunteering, but I think it's worth kind of noting the challenges that this group of young people face. Obviously, with a lot of young people who kind of arrive in the UK, there's so many challenges around having to kind of leave because of like war, persecution, or danger. A lot of the journeys that a lot of young people would take would be dangerous. They might have to do it without family members. And none of that really stops when they come to the UK, unfortunately. So we know that there's a hostile environment in terms of government policy and a lot of attitudes towards kind of refugee and migrant people can be quite negative. So I think that's difficult. And then I think in addition, you've got a really long asylum process where people will have to come into contact with lots of different professionals. They might have to talk about really traumatic experiences again and again. And they might even be age disputed when they arrive, which means that they wouldn't be entitled to the same level of support as a child. They might be under additional vulnerabilities by being kind of placed in unsuitable accommodation with adults. They might have been a victim of trafficking or exploitation. And so I think kind of understanding the context that these young people face is really, really important, because even if after lots of the kind of the lengthy process they're given status, that's not a guarantee, but also it means that they can't necessarily plan what they want to do with their lives, or kind of have their dreams or ambitions fulfilled in quite the same way as they would. They might be blocked from accessing education. All of this is a reality. So I think it's really important to know that, and know that the challenges that young people are facing, so that you can do what you can to support that. And I think, having a kind of volunteering session or kind of having this relationship with young people, unfortunately, that won't fix all of those problems.
No.
And that's why it's really important, I think, for the campaigning side of things as well, and to make sure that we are doing what we can there. But I think it's important to know what your role is and what you can do. And I think my role in this regard is to be that support, to be that consistency, and to make sure that, a young person kind of has opportunity to be a young person, to have fun, to experience these social activities, to get to know their new home. And I think that it's maybe the challenge is understanding what is and isn't in your control, like what you can and can't change. But I think if you kind of recognize that, and if the team around you supports you with that, then you can make a difference as well. So that's really great.
And I think that's really important for both of your roles, that you're both working with quite close, you're working with some quite tough issues that young people have to deal with. So, but you both sound like that. One, you're driven by this need to help, which I think so many people out there, so many people watching have got that as well. And it was, as you said, you kind of found what your strengths were, and you feel so supported, which I'm so impressed with the Children's Society as a whole, because I know that they have a fantastic volunteering scheme. But also, I just want to give a huge shout out to you both. One, that you came on short notice to talk to me, which is great. You've put up with the Wi-Fi issues, everything like that. But also, just a huge thanks for your contribution, really. You've both inspired me. I want to have a look in what I can do, obviously a little bit more after lockdown. So I'm sure you've inspired people who are watching or who will be watching. So I just want to say thank you to both of you for coming on. And I will talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
So that, I don't know about you guys, but that was amazing. I know that maybe we've lost a few people because there was a bit of a breakdown with the system and stuff like that, but it's okay. We're still here, and Catherine, I believe, is still here. So fingers crossed. Yay!
Hiya, there's some gremlins in the system, aren't there, today?
Really, there is. So we're going to try again, see how far we get. But we've obviously just heard from some amazing volunteers that really they're both such different roles, but at the end of the day, however small they think their impact is, it's making a huge difference to that child's life, whether it's the first time that child has come into pause, or whether it's the first time that child speaks to somebody that's not really an official, realistically, and kind of gives that personality. And as you, like, I'm sure everyone can agree, they're fabulous. So I really, really enjoyed that. Catherine, can you tell us more about what your role is with the volunteering team?
Yeah, and just to say how fantastic Nicole and Priya were, and obviously hearing everything they're saying it just inspires me so much. So my role, so currently I'm head of volunteering engagement at the Children's Society. So I basically lead up the national volunteering team, who does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, lots of policy, a lot of systems, lots of resources, kind of the duck under the water bit that kind of keeps the volunteering program going. What we don't do is as much of the kind of face-to-face volunteer stuff, which is why it's so good to hear from Priya and Nicole. It's really lovely. And yeah, love it. I've been at TCS for 5 years in the volunteering team, and yeah, love coming to work every day.
That's amazing. So you've probably seen quite a lot of changes in volunteering. What kind of what have you seen in your 5 years of being at the Children's Society?
I have seen. Oh my, yeah, I have seen a lot actually. I've seen us really develop some exciting new models, volunteering, and really going on a journey of understanding what volunteering means to the Children's Society. And yeah, we've recently been able to pilot some new stuff. We've got some new roles that, well, they're not so new anymore, but roles that weren't even conceived of when I started 5 years ago. We've got some really, really exciting stuff that goes on now. Not that we didn't 5 years ago, but it's just even more exciting. There's been a real evolution, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next year, in the next couple of years. Obviously, the world's all a bit weird right now, but that gives us some opportunities that maybe we haven't had before to think about volunteering differently. So I'm really excited about seeing where we land with that.
So what kind of roles then have, I've mentioned before about, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, the Community Awareness Network, but what other volunteering roles exist alongside fundraising?
So we've got, as you mentioned, the fundraising roles. We've got lots of people going out in their communities raising money for us. And I mean, you've just heard from Priya and Nicole as well. Everyone's heard from them. Lots and lots of sort of slightly different roles in frontline services, working with groups of children and young people, working with individual children and young people, really across the whole spectrum of young people that we work with. Some really exciting stuff there. But interestingly, only about 5% of our volunteering roles are actually like children, young people facing. The vast majority aren't directly, which I think surprises a lot of people, that we're a children's charity, and actually the vast majority of our volunteers are doing the really important, not that makes it sound like this our children, young people volunteers aren't important. They're incredibly important, and you've heard that story already. But the behind the scenes stuff that keeps things going, so raising awareness, reaching out to communities, raising money, as you've mentioned. So some of the roles that I don't think have come up yet, we've got, you mentioned at the beginning, we've got our retail volunteers, volunteers in hundreds of shops all across the country, thousands of volunteers doing all sorts of different and exciting things, and real little communities within our shops. They're really great places to go, and I've had the privilege to visit some of them. Got some great volunteers there. We've got, and so Nicole was talking about how she is works in the campaigns team. We also have a role associated with the campaigns work that we do called Campaigns Champion. That is a little bit more flexible. It doesn't sort of revolve around being in a place at a certain time, and really is built around raising awareness of the various campaigns that we're doing, influencing local communities, talking to MPs, really exciting stuff. And that's one of the newer roles that I was talking about. It's been around for 2 or 3 years, but I don't think we'd have even conceived we could do something like that when I started at TCS. So there's really great, exciting stuff happening.
So we've mentioned, I've just mentioned it about the Community Awareness Network. I've been talking to a few people without mentioning it, and it seems it's a lot on people's minds about, with young people, as we're in lockdown, that structure that was in place to protect young people as much as it can has been taken away. So can you tell me a bit more about what the network does? So what it's looking to do, and how can someone get involved?
So yeah, the Community Awareness Network is really about like building, I don't know if quite building in the structure, but being aware that some of the structures, as you've mentioned, that support young people and would maybe spot signs of particularly abuse and exploitation. So school, for example, a lot of young people still aren't in school. Services that they would access aren't there. And so the people that would potentially spot something a bit odd, something going on, something to be concerned about, aren't necessarily seeing that. So we felt as an organisation we had a bit of a duty to speak up and let people know what they can do to help, because actually there is something that we can all do to help, and it's really simple. So the Community Awareness Network is for anyone to sign up to. It is a really, really simple piece of, essentially, we're giving you some resources and information about how to spot possible signs of abuse and exploitation for children and young people that you might see on your trip to the supermarket, you might see in transport hubs, and also crucially letting you know what to do. So that if you do see someone, you think this doesn't feel quite right, you know what to do. And actually, the reporting mechanisms are simple. We're not asking anyone to jump in and get involved. We're just asking people to make referrals to the right authority if they need to, if they're worried, and to crucially share that with their networks. So there's some social media posts that we can get people to share to really spread the word, so that we can get the whole community mobilized to do what some of our services would have done in the past, to just look closer and look out and make sure our children and young people are safe at this time.
I think that's really important, especially as it doesn't require somebody. It's not when somebody says, "Oh no, I don't have the skill set, and I don't want to get in danger, etc." It's not about that. It's more about, as we've used this word so many times during this broadcast, it's a community. It's, if you spot something, then this is what you can do about it. And it sounds like it's really easy to be signposted to the right places to go, almost, when you see something like that happens.
Yeah, it's actually quite simple how you refer and how you keep people safe. It's not necessarily difficult. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it is a crucial action that can keep children and young people safe and get the right people involved at the right time. And like I said, it's so important that we're looking out for children and young people at the moment, because I think they need us more than ever.
100%, definitely. I mean, I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a shout out to other people. So whether if maybe you're looking for a new volunteering role, or you want to help a little bit more, Community Awareness Network sounds incredible. But we've also had people who have been with us for longer than I can imagine. So I want to do two little spotlights, which I'm sure Catherine can tell me a little bit more about. We've got a lovely lady called Julia Briggs, who's actually an MBE. There you go. That's her receiving some flowers from Hannah, her art regional manager. And I believe 50 years has she been volunteering with us?
I believe it's 50 years this year that she's been a volunteer and a supporter, and she has done a lot of stuff in that time, and it's just incredible. I mean, that's longer than I've been alive. It's mad and wonderful, I think. And we've got, a lot of volunteers that have done that and have given us that much time. And Julia's a great example. It's just amazing. It blows my mind.
It's amazing because I was reading up on some of the things that she's done, and it's things like she's helped coordinate fundraisers, whether that is selling stock for us or just kind of helping her community feel more involved, which I think, like we said, it's volunteering. You can do it by yourself, but you actually belong to a wider community. And as Nicole and Priya mentioned, they felt so supported when it comes to their work as a volunteer. So I actually want to give your team a huge shout out, because without your team and your colleagues, then volunteers wouldn't come back and back like Julia, and like I think we might have a photo of him as well, Phil, who is 92 years old. Now I will post a link to it later. He did a little video for us, and he's so lovely. There's him sitting in his living room, but he works in one of our shops, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has been a really, really long-standing retail volunteer, and you can see from the video, I recommend everyone watches it. He is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
it's absolutely brilliant, and again has supported us for so long, and is such an integral part of who the Children's Society is.
I think that's just incredible that we can see that there is new ways to get involved. Whether you have never thought about getting involved or you've always wanted to but not quite ready yet, I think this kind of lockdown is a perfect opportunity for people to maybe think about and actually like put more thought into their actions and go, do you know what, actually I keep seeing these things popping up. If it doesn't require much of my time, then I'd love to help. And I am seeing that, especially with young people. People are becoming more and more involved and want to show change. But then you've also got Julia and Phil, who literally have been doing this their whole lives. So I think whether people have just started volunteering, they've just shared something on one of our Facebooks about the Look Closer campaign, or they've been volunteering for years and years and years and just do it really quietly so no one can hear them. I think they're all just incredible. And I mean, today was, well, this whole week, we try and celebrate them every day of every week, but this is a special week dedicated to how much we need them and how much they're essential for everything we do, realistically. Without them, we wouldn't be able to push out our campaigns. We wouldn't be able to spread our awareness. So thank you, Catherine, for coming on to talk to us about it. I know that we had a few technical glitches, but it's okay. I'm just going to have a lie down after this, I think. I'm sure Nikki, who runs this behind, will be having a nap. Actually, no, she probably might have got a young boy. Who might. But yes, thank you so much, Catherine, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And sharing your stories. And yeah, we will be posting the links later on today in the group. We'll post the link about Phil. We'll post about all the different positions that will be of interest to you. Because I'm definitely going to get involved. I'll be sharing it on my Twitter page as well. And sometimes that's you being a campaign champion. That's a volunteering role. There you go. You've done it. So I just want to say thank you, everyone, for watching. If you were able to carry on watching us, sorry if you're not. All the recording will be both on YouTube and Facebook, so you'll be able to play me and play the others later. But thank you, everybody, for joining me. Next week we've got everyone's special. We've got some exciting guests, which I will post about later. But fingers crossed, it will be from a young person, not me. Yay. But anyway, thank you so much. I will stop waffling and you can go back to whatever you were doing during the day. So thank you, everybody, and I will see you next week.